Hi everyone, this is Professor Benjamin. I am making a little bit of a roundup, I guess, and just some concerns of mine. So I just went through a lot of your initial posts for both the ethics, economics, and the consumption right here. And I found too many similar posts. So, people are submitting and people are reading those and then they're copying information or maybe tweaking it just a little bit. It's way too similar. And that's a huge concern for mine as a professor because that's technically plagiarism. Even if you just maybe change the time, like from 1 minute and 15 seconds in the video to 1 minute and 18 seconds in the video. It's very much plagiarism. And so I'm really disappointed in the copying that's taking place in the forum posts. I can actually see exactly when someone posts something. And so then I can see that maybe someone waits a minute or two and posts their post after it, and reads their information. So if you find yourself that you're wanting to read other people's posts before you make yours, don't do that. Find a different question to answer. Some of you I've reached out to personally, and I really hope that you do not copy other people's posts from this point forward in this course. You will be losing points on your posts. In fact, some of them may not count because it is technically plagiarism. And we don't have a lot of posts in this course, and the posts are worth a significant amount of your grade. So it will affect your grade. So just that idea of trying to take a couple minutes off of your life and not doing the work behind it is really going to hurt you. So I want to give a stern warning about that. And the other thing I want to give a stern warning about is if that takes place on the midterm exam, you will receive a 0. Even if it's one question, you won't get a 0 on that question. You'll get a 0 on the entire midterm exam. So make sure every answer that you type out for your midterm exam is in your own words. If you are trying to work together in a group, maybe it's best that you don't do that. Maybe you go off by yourself and type up your own answers on the midterm exam review sheet so that there does not appear to be any similarities within your answers for the midterm exam. I am really disappointed and I'm a little bit hurt by the fact that you guys would copy information off of each other for your initial posts. At this level, you cannot even delve into the water a little bit at the college level with that. So please, from this point on, refrain from that. Unfortunately, you will have to see a decrease in your grade this week, though. The other thing is some of the answers that people made were incorrect, so then it was incorrect down the line. So make sure if you do copy from someone that they have the right answer or have the right concepts in mind. So there was a couple things I want to recover during this week. Number one, a linear system actually has to do with the line. So it has to do with the input and the output in the system. So what we put into the system and what comes out of the system at the end. So it means like all the resources we put into the system and then all the trash that ends up at the end, and the fact that we don't put those things, that trash, back into the input again, meaning we don't find ways to recycle those goods or have them have a second life. And that's the problem with the linear system. It's just a line. Input, output. There's no circle to it, and that's where a closed loop system works best, is where the output is then put back into the input again. Companies like IKEA try and work that out, where a lot of their products are recyclable, or all their packing's recyclable so that the trash ends up somewhere back, or it's biodegradable, so it ends up back into the ecosystem again rather than just getting put into a landfill. The other thing is that a lot of you tried to answer that intrinsic instrumental value question, and it is a way difficult question to answer, and a lot of you got it incorrect. So instrumental value means value unto itself. So that means that a tree would have the same value as a human. And so a lot of you misunderstood what instrumental value is versus intrinsic value. Instrumental value is everything that it provides to humans. So oxygen, wood, paper, all of that is its instrumental value to us. Most humans do not think that any part of nature has intrinsic value, meaning that it has value unto itself. There are some bioethicists, ecoethicists, etc. that have that, but for the most part, people do not think that nature or even organs have intrinsic value, but when you dig down further, there are parts of that that actually do. They have value unto itself, or value that we just can't put our finger on. And so that's really important for you to understand. A lot of you did an okay job with answering the question about putting a price tag on nature. We can put a price tag on nature. We put a price tag even on human lives in terms of insurance policies, how much our insurance policies are worth. All of that is what value they put onto us depending upon our race. Our sex, so males always get a higher insurance policy than females. Our race plays a role in that. Also, our job titles play a huge role in what we are allowed to receive in terms of an insurance benefit. So yes, we do put a price tag on humans. We put a price tag on nature. It's just not accurate, and it has a lot of problems with it. So a lot of you talked about ecological valuation and contingent valuation. These are what people are willing to pay, or what they say they're willing to pay, and then versus what they actually pay. So they send out surveys and say, how much would you be willing to pay to protect a bald eagle? And then when people show up, they say, well, oh, I'm willing to spend $100 a month to protect the bald eagle. But then when someone shows up at your doorstep and says, okay, cough up the $100. Oh, well, wait, maybe I'm willing to spend $1 a month to protect the bald eagle. So it's actually what you're willing to pay versus what your actual will pay are two different numbers. So that's really important when it comes to pricing the priceless. It's also really hard to put a value on even microscopic organisms in an ecosystem that play a vital role. So there are types of bacteria that are in your intestines that if without them we would die instantly. And a lot of people don't realize how important that bacteria is, but if you were willing to put a price tag on that bacteria versus something furry, people are always willing to spend more money on something furry than they are on something that looks like or is microscopic. They can't even see it. So there are all the important parts of that. The rental economy was a good question. So that was what, will people renting things change their idea of buying stuff? Yeah, it does. So if I could rent something rather than buy it, I'm more willing to do that. So there were a lot of good questions there. Just please do not copy information from each other. It's really important that you stay away from that type of behavior. And as we move forward in the course, that's going to become a big point of mine to try and drive through. So next week, you have a significant amount of work due. And so I would really start preparing now for next week. While you still have response posts due by Friday for both the ethics and consumption posts, you also have a quiz. You definitely need to start preparing for that midterm exam over the weekend. Absolutely essential, because next week, besides your midterm exam, you also have a post for water due, a post for climate change due, response posts for those, and a quiz. So you have so much due next week. It's absolutely essential that you start beginning to prepare for next week now. Make your response post to your fellow classmates, get that off your plate, take your quiz, get that off your plate, and really start working towards next week. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And let's just move forward and not copy information from each other. Have a good day.